Welcome to my channel, where we discuss everything and all things politics, economy, and development in Nigeria and around the world. In this live broadcast, we're going to talk about the emergence of the new national chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, what it meant for Nigeria, and especially the forthcoming 2027 general election. Of course, it's no longer news that Professor Joash Ojo Amupitan has been appointed as the new national chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission. And it is now subject for confirmation or subject to confirmation by the Senate. Knowing that the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as presently constituted, and its leadership, the mere rubber stamp of the executive, we don't expect anything to the contrary that he is going to be confirmed by the Senate, as led by Senate President Godswill Akpabio. But the big issue is, what does this mean? Because we're examining the red flag. There are red flags to indicate that what we have now as the new chairman of INEC is not going to be any different from what Mahmoud Yakubu did. And that is because of the process of his appointment. The process of his appointment may look legal, may look the due process, but there are a lot of flaws which shows that we are not going to get a different result from him, despite the fact that in his appointment, in announcing his appointment, the presidency said that he is apolitical. But nobody should be convinced by that assertion that Professor Joash Ojo Amupitan is apolitical. Therefore, he's going to conduct a transparent election in 2027. I do not think so. And that is why I want us to look at the red flags that indicate to the contrary, that he is not going to be any different from what the last man did, who left in an ignominious way and conducted the worst election in Nigeria's history. I'm talking about Professor Mahmoud Yakubu. Now, what are the red flags? The number one red flag about Ojo Amupitan emerging as INEC chairman is that it has also reflected President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's tendency to pander to ethnicity instead of being persuaded by national interest. You know that ahead of this announcement, ahead of the meeting by Council of State that eventually produced Joash Amupitan as the INEC chairman, subject to confirmation by a Senate that will surely confirm him, given that the Senate is a rubber stamp, is that there were two zones in Nigeria that have never produced INEC chairman or the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission. The two zones are Southwest and North Central. These were the two zones that have not produced INEC chairman. Now, because it was only two zones that have been left out, it was narrowed down to these two zones to produce the INEC chairman. And one of the things that people were watching is to see whether Tinubu will appoint INEC chairman from his southwest zone, whether he will appoint INEC chairman from his southwest zone. Of course, knowing that it wouldn't look good for the INEC chairman to come from southwest zone, where he also hails from, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was smart not to appoint from southwest zone, because it will be obvious that by that alone, the election of 2027 will appear jeopardized even by mere fact that the person that will be conducting the election is from the same zone with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Therefore, it wouldn't look good. The optics wouldn't look good. So the president was smart in not appointing the INEC chairman from Southwest, even though that zone had not produced any INEC chairman since 1999. He now left the option of North Central. Now, Tinubu, to show you that he's being smart by half, while he has picked the INEC chairman from North Central, he went and picked a fellow Yoruba as INEC chairman from North Central. Now, North Central is a zone that is a mixed bag of ethnicities in Nigeria. And within that zone of the Northwest, there are so many ethnic groups. In fact, the Yoruba themselves, they are a minority in the North Central compared to other ethnic groups within the North Central. So Tinubu has also done what he has been doing since he became president by nominating his kinsman to be the INEC chairman, a fellow Yoruba who is from the same local government with Dino Melaye, who used to represent Kogi West Senatorial District. In other words, Tinubu was able to dodge the bullet of not nominating INEC chairman from Southwest, which the bias will be obvious, and went to North Central and pick a fellow Yoruba as the INEC chairman. Now, this has become a pattern of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that we will see that he has continued to do, mean populating key federal government establishments by people of Yoruba extraction. That's why many people regard his government as the most nepotistic in our history. Nigerians thought that they had seen the last under Muhammad Buhari, but the worst was yet to come under Tinubu administration. To show you the Tinubu's penchant for populating key strategic positions with people of Yoruba extraction. And if you look at his cabinet, all the key jobs are being handled by people from his own ethnic group. You look at the ministers, you have Wale Edun, Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy. You see the Minister for Marine and Blue Economy, You have Adeboyiga Oyetola, who is also a cousin of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And you have the Minister of Communications, Innovation, and Digital Economy. That's Boson Tijani. You have the Minister of Interior. You have Olubumi Tunji Ojo. And you have the Minister of Minister of Agriculture and Food Security. He's from also Southwest, Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abaka Kyari. You have a situation where all the key parastatals are populated by Yorubas. For instance, you have a situation where the heads of key federal agencies, parastatals, that are significant are all headed by the Yorubas. Femi Gbajabiamila is the chief of staff to the president. And you have the chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Zach Adedeji, chairman, Federal Inland Revenue Service. You have Oluwatoyin Afizogun, Director General, CEO, Industrial Training Fund. You have the Nigerian Institute of Medical Research, John Oladepo Obafunwa. You have Bayo Fagede, DG, National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism. You have Ahmed Bolaji Nagode, DG, National Power Training Institute of Nigeria. You have CEO, Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPC, who is Bayo Ojulare. You have Oyetunde Oladimeji Ojo, MD, Federal Housing Authority. You have Olanipekun Olukoyode, Chairman, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. You have Olayewola Nuruddin Awakan, Nigerian Tourism Development Commission. And now you have the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Joash Omupitan, in that list. Now, when you look at other agencies too, he appointed a fellow Yoruba as the Inspector General of Police. And Yorubas are also in charge of the army. And the list goes on and on. So this tendency to put strategic positions in the hands of people of his ethnic group has now played out. And that should worry Nigerians, that the president wanted to do a balancing in appointing the INEC chairman, and he chose somebody from his ethnic group. That's an indication that the appointment was not being fair, even to the North Central people, including those who may be clapping for him that he chose INEC chairman from the North Central. He was deliberate in choosing one of his own. And in an election, a key election in which Tinubu is going to participate in 2027, where one of a fellow Yoruba is the umpire, how do you think this thing is going to be perceived? Do you think this man is going to be able to be fair to all Nigerians? Let's be factual about this. Ethnicity plays a role in Nigeria as well as religion. In fact, during the campaign, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was one candidate ahead of the 2023 election that put his ethnicity as a major issue. He said that it is Yoruba turn, it is my turn. That assertion, which was an assertion that ought to have been condemned, but was tolerated, he has carried it on to governance. Therefore, what you are witnessing, this tendency to appoint people of Yoruba extraction to most strategic positions in Nigeria, including being in charge of the whole economy, the central bank governor, everything. This tendency is a reflection that what we are fearing is likely to happen again in 2027. Because when you have a president who put his ethnicity above the national interest and federal character, what are you going to see? You are going to see people being suspicious of his capacity to conduct free and fair election. Ordinarily, that ought to disqualify the new INEC chairman coming from the same ethnic stock with the president in an election that the president is going to participate in. That ought to be a red flag. That ought to be a reminder that, look, something is not right here. That's why if you look at the reaction by the opposition parties, they are being very cautious. They are not deceived by the assertion by the presidency that Amupitan is apolitical, that he is apolitical. Nobody is believing this story of being apolitical. For instance, there's a video that I will put under this video after to show that when the former INEC chairman was appointed, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, there were people who opposed his reappointment in 2019, his reappointment in 2020. Rotimi Amechi, former governor of Rivers State and former Minister of Transportation. After the 2023 election, shambolic election that was conducted by Mahmoud Yakubu, Rotimi Amechi spoke to the media saying that he was not surprised that Mahmoud Yakubu favored Tinubu in the 2023 election, because it was the Tinubu's camp that insisted that he should be reappointed by Buhari in 2020. That he, Amechi, was among those who opposed his reappointment. And I will believe Amechi. Why will I believe Amechi's story? Because Amechi, don't forget, was the DG of Buhari's presidential campaign, both in 2015 and in 2019. So he is a member of the inner caucus of the Buhari administration. Okay? He didn't tell us why he had reservations about Mahmoud Yakubu being reappointed in 2020. But he said, despite his protest, the camp of Tinubu won, ensuring that Mahmoud Yakubu was reappointed. And then when the result of the 2023 election came out in favor of Tinubu, he said, I told you so. This is what I know because I was there when the issue of his reappointment was done, and I was against it. And he enumerated the issues he has with this, the man being reappointed. But Buhari went ahead and reappointed him in 2020. So that shows you that the idea that Tinubu will appoint somebody who will not favor him, who is apolitical, who, as the governor Ododos in introducing him, say he's a man of integrity. The idea that Tinubu will appoint somebody who will conduct free and fair election in which Tinubu is bound to lose, because I keep saying it, and Malam Nasir El-Rufai has also said it, that if free and fair election is conducted in 2027, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will come a distant third. Because there is nothing to indicate that Nigerians would like him to return. There is nothing he is doing. This man has set the country back in terms of economic development, in terms of every indices of human development. The question to ask yourself, are you better off today than you were 2 years ago? When you give the honest answer, it will give you an indication whether this man stands any chance of returning. Okay, but to believe that he will appoint somebody who will conduct free and fair election that will not favor him in 2027, when Amechi had already told us that ahead of 2023 election, Tinubu played a role in the reappointment of Mahmoud Yakubu. And the idea, from what Amechi was telling us, is that those who helped Mahmoud Yakubu in coming to power, he favored them in the 2023 election. Now he is appointed a fellow kinsman, a fellow Yoruba, and people think that the idea that he's apolitical is going to work. No, the optics are not right. Tinubu would have done the most noble thing by appointing somebody who is not Yoruba from North Central. And there are several people that could have been appointed from North Central. North Central is a mixed bag of ethnicities. You have the Galas, you have the Domas, you have the Nupes, so many ethnic groups, the thieves and all that. There are so many ethnic groups within the North Central geopolitical zone. Even in Plateau State alone, there are so many. Even in Niger State, so many ethnic groups. Okay, I see you, Kayode, you say you are not worried. You can say that because the appointment favors what you wanted. You want somebody that's going to run the election and run it in Tinubu's favor. But we're talking about somebody that could bolster confidence of Nigerians. Somebody who can be trusted to conduct free and fair election. And you are picking somebody from your ethnic stock. That's a red flag. That's a red flag. Whether you appreciate this or not, you have not bolstered the confidence of other Nigerians. Because let us be factual about this. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been accused of nepotism. The reason why he is struggling about his whether he will survive the re-election bid in 2027 is because the North that voted for him, so-called, that voted for him in 2023, they have fed up. They are fed up. They have seen the nepotism in his government. How Lagos State alone in the last 2 years got projects that worth 3.9 trillion naira, while the whole of the northwest zone was only getting a little above 1 trillion. The whole of the northwest is 7 states. Lagos alone. Lagos, they say that it does not belong to other Nigerians anymore. That is now only a Yoruba state. Was getting 3.9 trillion. Almost 3 times what the whole of Northwest got. Almost 2 times what the South that produces the oil that they use in running the country got. Including this, Lagos alone got almost 10 times what the Southeast got. Southeast is an oil producing zone that contribute to the national pulse. Lagos got more projects than them. So these things are clear. So he has also exhibited it even in appointing the INEC chairman. And because he needed to have somebody of his ethnic stock to oversee the election. So that's, my friend, is a red flag by appointing somebody from his ethnic group to oversee election that he will participate. Then another red flag is the Joash Ojo Amupitan position when the issue of budget pardon in the National Assembly came up. You know, there was a time when Yakubu Dogara was the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and there was this issue of budget pardon, that budgets were being padded. And the padding of budgets raised a lot of outrage across Nigeria. But this Professor Joash Ojo Amupitan was on record to have supported the speaker then, that there was nothing wrong with the budget being padded or so. Okay? His argument was that it is constitutional, since the Constitution said that the job of the National Assembly is to look at the budget and work on it. So there's nothing wrong in them adding and removing or doing whatever they were doing. He said that was okay. To him, it was okay. Now, this is an issue that most Nigerians complain about, that National Assembly cannot be allowed to be padding the budget to favor them and their own personal political aggrandizement. But we have an INEC chairman now who at that time didn't see anything wrong in what the House of Representatives was alleged to have done about budget padding. So that's to show you that he is also somebody who pandered to the establishment. So when you have somebody that's appointed that is always pandering to the establishment, that's a red flag. It therefore means that as INEC chairman, he may not be different from Mahmoud Yakubu in pandering to the interest of Tinubu and the establishment. And that is not what the country needs. What the country needs is somebody who can be able to do the right thing, somebody who will be able to protect the interest of the Nigerian voter, so that the Nigerian voter will not be taken for granted, so that the vote will count. But from the way things are now, there is no way. It is difficult for people who will participate in the next election, especially at the highest level, the elections that Tinubu will participate. We are talking about the presidential election, the most consequential election of 2027. Tinubu has appointed somebody there. And from his antecedent, from what Amechi told us, Tinubu is not likely to appoint somebody who is not going to work in his favor. So now, having known this red flag, what can the civil society do? What can the Nigerian people do? The only thing that the Nigerian people can do is to keep on pushing for amendment to the INEC guidelines. That one is an easier thing to do if they want to do it. But amendment of the Electoral Act so that the votes of Nigerians can be able to count. Let it be compulsory. Let it be mandatory that there will be no coalition of election result without electronic transmission of result. There must be electronic accreditation, electronic transmission, electronic coalition. This should be basic to remove the human impact in manipulation of 2027 election. If we are able to facilitate this, that should be the first step. Because one of the things that these people use in favoring the government in power is by making ambiguous laws. Ahead of the 2023 election, Mahmoud Yakubu, Festus Okoye, all these people, they were telling us that the electronic coalition of result is mandatory, that it is not optional. Only for us on the election day, they were now telling us that INEC has the option of collating result manually. It was one of the biggest shocks that most Nigerians are yet to recover from it. So whatsoever needs to be done, it must be factual, it must be cast in stone. If the machines broke down, then they canceled the election and start afresh. The idea that they will use technical glitches to favor a particular candidate should be nipped on the bud. That's the only way you can curtail people like this Professor Joash Amupitan. Because let us be frank about it, it's he who pays the piper dictate the tune. Now, the professor owes his appointment to Tinubu, whether we like it or not. He owes it to Tinubu. But the only thing that can stop him from favoring Tinubu is to build a wall of legal hedges around him. He is a lawyer, we know. so that he cannot be able to escape. There will be no escape route for him to favor Tinubu in the election. That no matter which direction he turns, he will be entrapped to do the right thing. And I have said one thing. The INEC IRIF should not be the property of the Independent National Electoral Commission alone. We must have a situation where all the political parties will be at INEC back end. They should be part of the INEC back end 48 hours before the next election, before the election, to be part of the whole process, so that on election day, the agents of the African Democratic Congress, Labour Party, APC, PDP, what have you, they will all be at the back end monitoring what is going on in INEC. And there must be electronic transmission of the results from all the polling units across Nigeria, so that as the results are dropping, the agents are seeing it from all the polling units across Nigeria, so that it will be difficult to manipulate it in favor of any candidate. That this result will be seen at real time. Remember, that was what they told us. That the 2023 election, Nigerians will be seeing the result at real time. That is what we expect to see in 2027. And that is what the opposition parties, the civil societies, that's what everybody should be working for, to ensure that there is no mago-mago, no uru in the 2027 election. So the opposition, they are cautious in welcoming him, but the truth of the matter remains that already the process of the appointment is flawed. The president appointing the INEC chairman, that process is even flawed in the first place. Only Goodluck Jonathan appointed somebody who was able to oversee an election that saw him out of power. Tinubu is not going to make that mistake. Tinubu is not going to do like Jonathan. And that is why he appointed somebody who many people don't really know about. To be frank, most people don't know about this man, Professor Joash Ojo Amupitan. Most people don't know him. Unlike Jega that Jonathan appointed, Jega was known nationwide, especially by those who attended tertiary institutions, knowing his background as a comrade, as somebody who fought for the interest of university teachers, who has led strikes, protests, and all that. So his antecedent, and that was what Jonathan was banking on, that this man is going to be fair, that this man is going to do well, and that he's going to be an unbiased umpire. And going by the record of Jega, you can say, okay, Jonathan did the right thing by appointing somebody who is coming from a known comrade position, somebody who is a unionist, somebody who has fought for the interests of workers, university workers, somebody who has led nationwide strike. But this Joash Ojo Amupitan is not known. It's not a known name in terms of fighting for the rights of Nigerians, either as a unionist like Professor Jega or anything. So you can therefore see why people should be worried that he is the one in charge. And unless he is caged by the laws of Nigeria, Electoral Act, he can't be trusted that he will conduct free and fair election that will be fair to all Nigerians, that will be fair to those who are competing against Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So that is the situation we have found ourselves. The only solution now that the opposition can bank on is to ensure that there is free and fair election. And that can only be possible by amending the Electoral Act and ensuring that all the loopholes that the APC used in rigging the 2023 election, all those loopholes are blocked. If they are not blocked, we are likely to see a repeat of 2023 in 2027. Don't say I told you. I'm telling you how it's going to play out. It is he who pays the piper that is said to. And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, by his political antecedent, as confirmed by Rotimi Chibika-Amechi, he is not going to appoint somebody who will conduct an election in which he will not win. So the only way to stop him from not winning is to ensure that the opposition, the civil society, the Nigerian people insist on the amendment of the Electoral Act to block all the loopholes that the establishment used in rigging an election in favor of their preferred candidate. Unless that is done, we are back to square one. That's my take. I don't know what you think about the emergence of Professor Joash Ojo Amupitan. Do you think that he can be able to conduct free and fair election, looking at the process through which he was appointed, looking at the fact that he's the same ethnic stock with the president, looking at the fact that Tinubu, as Amechi told us, was instrumental in the appointment of the former INEC chairman, Mahmoud Yakubu, and who eventually favored him in the 2023 election. What do you think? Now that he has appointed somebody by himself, now in 2020, ahead of 2023 election, that's in 2020, Amechi told us that those that are appointed that ensured his, Mahmoud Yakubu's reappointment, they belong to Tinubu camp. And they will carry the day by ensuring that Mahmoud Yakubu was reappointed. So now that Tinubu has appointed somebody, he has the constitutional power to do that. Do you think he will appoint somebody who will not favor him? Do you think that this Professor Joash Ojo Amupitan will conduct an election in which Tinubu will lose? Or do you think that the best option is to ensure that there is no loophole for this new INEC chairman to be able to favor anybody, but conduct an election in which will be a reflection of the will of the Nigerian people? Whatever is your position, let's hear from you at the comment section. Thank you for watching this video. And if you are new to my channel, you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. And please don't forget to like this video, because when you like it, God will rank it high and recommend it for more people. Thank you, and God bless you.